someone that's plugged in, and someone that's there to take care of business.
The LAPD for many years had an image problem in the community. They weren't trusted, they were looked at as an occupying force, and people just had fear when they saw those blue uniforms. And over many years, and with 2 or 3 chiefs, that's managed to kind of turn itself around. And the LAPD is enjoying a great era of prosperity right now. The Sheriff's Department is kind of in that place, and in my opinion, it's probably even in a more worse position with its perception of being violent in the jails and even on the streets. I have heard people say, we see a sheriff's car and we tighten up. And these are just average people who haven't done anything. They have real fears about being stopped by the sheriff, that something bad is going to happen. With that long introduction laid out, what are you going to do to change the LA County Sheriff's image with just the average person walking up the street?
Well, simply speaking, and I don't want to keep using the word expectations, but it's holding the people accountable and changing the culture of the department, that it's not us versus them. It's us with them and them with us. The police, the LA County Sheriff's Department, derives their authority from the people that are just walking down the street as you described. And that's really what we're there for, is there to help them. So I will set that standard, I will communicate that to my people, and also augment the community policing programs. One of the things that I, as a law enforcement professional, find very frustrating is that all too often law enforcement management will say, well, we know what's best for the community, here's what we're going to do. And then, it kind of comes down and gets shoved down their throat. What I want to see is the community participating, so that law enforcement and myself as a sheriff are not operating in a vacuum, where we can get the input from the community, what's important to them, what's their priority, what they want to see. So things like that can be addressed, and we can improve their relationship with the Sheriff's Department.
Noticing our new mayor here in the city of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti, one of the more interesting things he does is he does something called getting out from behind the desk, where he takes a trailer and they pull it down to South L.A., Mid-Wilshire, here in Studio City, and he meets with the people. Is that something that you would entertain doing as part of your schedule as being sheriff?
Well, let me give you a little background. Actually, on the campaign trail, one of the things I hear quite often is, oh, okay, you're running, we're never going to see you again. That is absolutely not my intention, or not what I plan to do. I'm trying to come up with, I'll be quite frank with you, a catchy name for it. I don't want to just say coffee with the sheriff, but I want to come up with something where people can know every week or every 2 weeks that I'll be available at different locations, and that'll be on the website, and they can come out and address their concerns. They can get questions answered. Because a lot of times the conflict or the rub between the community and the Sheriff's Department or any law enforcement is just simply a lack of communication. Okay? It's not understanding each other, and it's important to have that dialogue and see what your perceptions are, what my perceptions are, and we can come to an agreement. We may not always agree, but it's important to have the dialogue, because a lot of times people feel better if they're heard. So yes, of course I want to do that, and I want to make that happen.
All right, let's talk about the race. Okay. We are very, very early. Well, not exactly early in the race for sheriff, but you have a crowded field, and we established that a little bit earlier. There's at least one other candidate who I would call high profile, and that's the gentleman from Long Beach, or the chief of Long Beach. With that being said, Lou, how are you going to get people to notice your campaign? How are you going to demonstrate to us that you rise head and shoulders above the rest?
Well, quite simply, and I want to talk about the issues. Sometimes talking about the issues, you have to talk about other candidates like you're bringing up. So it's my intention here to talk about the issues. But I'll start by saying I've been running this campaign since it was possible, since January of last year. During that time, the gentleman you mentioned said, well, it's too much work. I can't do it. I don't want to be involved. Now, 2 weeks ago, Sheriff Lee Bacher resigned for, I think everybody would agree, was a good decision, and the chief from Long Beach decided to jump in the race because now the field was clear. That's not the kind of leadership we need from the next sheriff of Los Angeles County. It's going to be a Herculean task to bring that organization in the 21st century, and we can't have someone in there that's not up to that. And that's why I think I rise head and shoulders above that competition, because I'm not afraid of that. And I'm not afraid to hear what the community has to say. I've been going out to the communities and enlisting them, their input. I'm not afraid what the deputies have to say either. I want to hear what they have to say. I think they're one of the biggest frustrated groups out there, and they're also members of the community.
And How are you going to rise head and shoulders above the men already wearing the uniform? We spoke of them earlier, but give us a summation of how you're going to top those guys.
Well, quite simply put, I'm not them. I'm not part of that organization. I haven't been tainted by that subculture. The men that you're referring to, while they're certainly law enforcement professionals, they've been part of that culture, that mantra of this is the way we've always done it. They had an opportunity, many of them for even as the second in command, to take charge, to make choices, to do pilot programs, to spitball, to try something different. But instead we just had more of the same that brought the sheriff's department to this precipice where now they're almost going over the cliff with these indictments and the community attitude. And I think past performance is the best indicator of future performance. And if you agree with me on that, then I think you want somebody new, you want change, you want some innovation, and you want some passion to make those changes.
All right, Lou, I'm going to turn towards my camera right here. And I'm going to say, Lou, what do you want the eyes of Los Angeles and Los Angeles County, what do you want those people to know as they head to the polls in June about you, about your campaign, and why you should be the man wearing the star?
Well, quite simply, every community gets the type of law enforcement that it insists on. And it's time for you to insist on professional, innovative policing from the sheriff's department. And the only way you're going to get that is to bring in somebody from the outside with a fresh perspective, but the inside knowledge to make those changes. And I'm that person, and that's why you should vote Lou Vince for sheriff on June 3rd, 2014.
And if we want to look up more on Lou Vince, how do we find out about you?
That's at louvince.com or on Twitter at Vince for Sheriff. And you could also like my Facebook page, Lou Vince for Los Angeles County Sheriff.
Lou Vince, thank you for this enlightening interview. Thank you for joining us, and good luck to you as the race heats up.
Thank you, Chin.
Thank you. It's worth noting that media requests were made to most of the other candidates in the race. As of this airing, no other candidate has responded. However, this is Newswire L.A., and you can rest assured we will work until we have the others firmly planted in front of our cameras. And that's it for this Newswire L.A. broadcast. We thank Lou Vince for joining us, and we wish him good luck in the race for County of Los Angeles Sheriff. To follow everything Newswire L.A., look us up on Facebook and Twitter at Newswire L.A. Stay tuned with us through this election season for more on the showdown in downtown Los Angeles. Stay tuned for more news on this Westlake Signal station.